Hi guys, it's me Erica. So today I'm going to be reviewing the anime Dance with Devils, which just recently finished, and this is going to be my first review, or technically my first review, because the problem with reviews for me is I end up just saying like, oh, this anime is good or this anime is bad, but I don't really put that much thought into it. But I'm trying my best this time because I really wanted to review this anime anyways, and I even wrote notes on it, so hopefully it goes well. So let us get started with the review. So Dance with Devils is an anime that aired the fall 2015 season, and the first episode aired October 7, 2015, and the last episode aired December 23, 2015. This anime is produced by Reject, the company that also made Diabolical Lovers, and also animated by Brainspace, who did a lot of other reverse harem such as Amnesia, Brocon, and Kamigami no Asobi. And I'm putting this out there, I'm actually a really big reverse harem fan or otome fangirl, so hopefully it doesn't like kind of cloud the decision or stuff like that. But the problem with reverse harems for me, and I guess a lot of people, is that it kind of like brings the same story and it never goes into depth with all the characters, because a lot of the characters are left with just one episode, because either that it's such a short anime and there's so many guys, or they just really want to focus on how the characters fall in love instead of kind of diving into the character's personality, which is left for the game, because a lot of these reverse harems are starting out as a game then transferring as an anime. And I think that was one of the biggest advantage with Dance with the Devils, is because it is going to become a game. It isn't a game going into an anime, it's an anime going into a game. So it kind of left room for a lot of learning about the character's personalities, since the game isn't there for the person who's watching the anime to be like, oh, to learn more about this character or how this world is actually structured, you go to the games. With Dance with the Devils, they're kind of forced to show the personalities, since it isn't a game where they can just pick it up and kind of continue it in the game. I mean, it is going to become a game, so it is going to follow that, but in the anime you can basically know the whole story without having to pick up the game. So with that, diving into the actual premise of the anime tells the story of Ritsuka Tachibana, a normal high school girl who's one day called into the student council room because they suspect her for doing illegal activities, even though that's not true. What she doesn't know is that the student council in her school is actually run by devils who are in search for the Forbidden Grimoire, which is basically an object that if they control, they can rule the whole world or whatever world they want to. But the devils aren't the only ones that are after this Forbidden Grimoire. Vampires are also after this Forbidden Grimoire, so it's a race between the two species, I guess, of who can get it first, to who rule the world first. And Ritsuka is actually caught into this trouble, but as the story goes on, you find out why she's so caught up in this struggle. Dance with the Devils is a musical reverse harem, and musical reverse harems are not really new, because the most notable is Uta no Prince-sama, where they actually dealt with a lot of singing too, because they were in a music school. And Dance with the Devils, though, was kind of awkward at first because of that musical aspect, and it wasn't that the songs were bad, it's just that the setting where they would sing the songs was just really awkward, because with Uta no Prince-sama, it kind of made sense because they're in a music school, so of course they're going to just sing randomly. But with Dance of the Devils, they just dealt with a lot of fighting and like with the main character Ritsuka falling in love. So it really felt awkward at first with the songs in there, because it wasn't really they weren't like in a music school, they weren't like studying to be musicians. It was really funny in this one part actually, when Rem and Lindo, who are like the main guys in the anime, are like fighting, but they're also singing at the same time. So that was actually really funny. And the songs are actually pretty nice too, and well written, but just really awkward in the series, just because it didn't really have to do anything. The series as a whole didn't have to do anything with music, even though the songs fit into what they were singing. So moving on to the characters, reverse harems are notorious, of course, for having multiple guys and just one girl that they're falling in love with. The first one I'm going to be talking about is Ritsuka Tachibana, who is the main girl, and without giving too much away, she is probably like one of the reverse harem leads where I'm not completely annoyed with her. Like, I was actually rooting for her to get together with one of the devils that she meets, because in a lot of reverse harem, the girl doesn't really do anything. Like, they just live passively in the whole anime, so it's really annoying when all these hot guys fall in love with this girl who really doesn't have a personality, so it's not really believable. But I can see in the sense that because before, a lot of reverse harems, they come from a game, so a lot of the leads don't really have a personality, because from the game, the player is the girl. So if they were to translate it into anime, they have to make a new personality. They're trying to do it in the game where you kind of play the character in the anime, which doesn't really transfer well, at least for me, because it just feels like, oh man, why is this girl so stupid? Like, why isn't she like doing anything when these guys are like attacking her? And I didn't really feel that with Ritsuka, just because she actually like fought back her attackers. And I don't want to like give too much away, so I won't like name specific points exactly, but like she does play the damsel in distress card sometimes, but when she does, it's kind of understandable, just because, I mean, if a guy is on top of her and at least she's like trying to break away, but it's understandable because the guy is probably more powerful. But I didn't really feel that with a lot of the other reverse harems, such as Diabolical Lovers, where Yui would never like try to fight back. She would just say like, no, no, no. But Ritsuko is different, because she was actually saying like all those stuff, but she is trying to fight back and even succeeds, and her succession is actually really important to the end. The next character is actually her brother Lindo Tachibana, and he is an exorcist. He studied in England and is in the series coming back home to protect Ritsuka from all these things that are happening. And he's one of the characters that are more, their personality is shown more than the others, because he is one of the main characters, I kind of like to say. And you find a lot about him, and without giving it away, that's probably all I can say. The next character we'll be talking about is Rem, and he is the student council president, and he's also part of this he's part of this family who is like a prestigious demon family, and he's technically Ritsuka's main love interest. He is one of the other characters that are more seen, like the story focused more on Ritsuka's and Rem's relationship other than the other love interest she had. So that's kind of refreshing to see. A lot of the reverse harems, you're kind of just like thrown into all these different directions, but not really a solid one you can follow, and it just ends up being like a clouded mess of feelings. I don't know. The last characters I'll be talking about is Urie, Shiki, and Mage, and basically they're the other people in the student council that are also devils and are falling in love with Ritsuka. The only problem with them is that they weren't really shown as much. They didn't really have as much screen time, with the exception of their anime episode, which is common in reverse harem animes. They have their own episode. They weren't really shown, like they showed the personality, but you didn't really go in depth with it, like apart from their tropes. So that's left probably for the game that comes out, just because that's where you can actually dive in, because the anime predominantly focuses on Ritsuka, Rem, and Lindo, and also the surrounding story about it. So final thoughts, I guess, is that I really enjoyed this anime, and the big reason why is because most reverse harem animes focused on the romance, because of course all these people are trying to fall in love with this main character. What I really liked about this anime is that though they did have that aspect, they actually focused more on the main character than her love interest. Like, we found a lot more about Ritsuka, which I feel like a lot of reverse harem animes lack, because they're trying to focus more on that love aspect. But I learned so much about Ritsuka, and that's probably why I tended to like not find her annoying and like feel her feelings too, and actually root for her for all these guys, which I don't really find in a lot of reverse harem leads, just because they're so passive and we really don't see why a lot of these people really like this main character because of course we're learning more about her love interest than of course the character. Again, this might be due to the game to anime concept where you're kind of made to have your own, the character is supposed to have like the personality of whoever's playing, so that's why it's probably like that. And basically that's it. And if you were to recommend a reverse harem anime, this one might be a good choice just because it doesn't have that passiveness main character and it actually makes people want to root for the main character. It might just throw them off a little from the singing, but the songs are somewhat catchy. This anime may not be a masterpiece, but it is one of the better reverse harems out there in comparison with all the other ones, at least in my opinion. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this review, and subscribe if you want to watch more videos of mine dealing with fandoms and anime and stuff like that. And hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'm sorry if I wasted your time, but yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, you guys, and see you next time.